Hello, and thank you for taking part in this digital drop in with Google and Parent Zone. My name's Chelsea, and we have got our online safety expert Tim in the chat box too. Now, we'd love to hear where you're watching from today and your name, bit of who you are. So do say hello and introduce yourself in the chat box. Don't be shy. Now, Tim and I are part of a team in charge of a program called Be Internet Legends. Now, this program's been designed by Google and Parent Zone to help 7 to 11-year-olds become savvier, safer, and more confident online. Now, over the last few weeks, we've been asking parents what topics they'd like us to cover in these digital droppings, and cyberbullying was one of the top answers. So, that is what we're going to be covering today. And as it's anti bullying week this week, we've been doing sessions all week and we're also doing another one tomorrow. So, do share the news, let your other parent friends and family members know as well. Now, this chat is designed for all families, so perhaps you're just finding out a little bit more about bullying and the approaches that are there to prevent it. But we're also going to be sharing some practical advice if you are worried. We're going to be taking a 360-degree look on bullying and think about how Be Internet Legends can help you help your children and what we're teaching children about it. Now, if you do have an immediate problem with bullying and you do need some more specific help or support, please email legends@parentzone.org.uk. That's legends@parentzone.org.uk, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Now, we really want the next 20 minutes to be as useful and as practical as we can possibly make them. And we know that some of the best ideas are going to come from you, sharing your top tips and techniques parent to parent. So, if you have got any advice to share, any techniques, or you do have any questions, pop them in the chat box. Tim's there waiting for you, and I'll keep glancing down there too so I can answer any questions or share your thoughts. Now, what we really want to do today is make sure that everybody leaves this session with one or two things that will help them to deal with this really tricky subject area. Now, just before I move on, I want to just check you can all see me okay. Now, if I do look a bit blurry, I recommend pressing refresh on your page, and that'll work whether you're watching on a phone or a tablet or a computer. Or you'll notice a little cog in the bottom right hand of your screen. So if you click on that and select quality, you can change that there too. And don't worry about missing anything because you can always watch this back later. Like I said, Tim and I are part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends, an internet safety programme that is being taught in schools across the UK for almost 4 years now. Some of you might have heard about it from your children. We deliver really fun interactive assemblies like these, and then teachers follow up with lessons that are part of a full curriculum. Throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting teachers and students and families from afar using the power of tech. Be Internet Legends teaches children 5 really important safety pillars. Now, these are a mixture of skills and behaviours that children need to remember all the different things they need to be thinking about and remembering when they go online. Now, this includes being sharp, being alert, being secure, being kind, and being brave. If you wanted to find out a little bit more about the 5 pillars, check out Google's parent page. Now, Tim's popping a link in the chat box to that as I speak. We also run other sessions that explain the whole of Be Internet Legends, and we would absolutely love you to join one of those. Now, you can find out when they're happening on the Parent Zone website, and Tim's going to pop a link there which shows the timetable of all the different dates. And like I said, do share that with anyone who you think would be interested. Now, the programme covers a lot more than cyberbullying, but that is what we're going to be focusing on today. I'm going to explain to you what we teach children about bullying so that you can apply the same approaches and techniques at home if you think that would be useful for you and your children. Now, this approach isn't just useful and appropriate for a child who's being bullied, although we do have some tips if that is the case. It's really about making sure that children don't experience it. There are three pillars that are really important when we think about cyberbullying, and these are secure, kind, and brave. So those are the pillars of the Legends Code that I'm going to be focusing on today. So, what is cyberbullying and how might it happen? First off, it's really easy to worry about cyberbullying and the possibility that your child might be being picked on without you knowing. However, as a parent, you'll be used to looking out for signs that something's bothering your children, so chances are you will pick up on something pretty quickly. What's important is that you consider that bullying might be a problem. There's no legal definition of bullying, but what we generally mean is behaviour that's sustained and intended to hurt somebody either emotionally or physically. Of course, it is a real concern for parents. Data from a bullying charity called Ditch the Label UK suggests that up to a fifth of children experience it. Now, what's really important to know is that those figures come from children in secondary schools, and that's where the problems often start. And one of the reasons why we're teaching Be Internet Legends in primary schools to try and prevent cyberbullying from happening in the first place. When we think about cyberbullying, it's really important to remember that the internet can amplify things, good and bad. So if a child is experiencing bullying, it's likely to have both online and offline elements. It's equally important to remember that it's possible that the internet's helping them to cope with bullying. Now, maybe they use it to switch off, or maybe they have friends who they game with online. Now, for some children, online friendships can feel a lot easier than offline ones. The important thing is to approach this topic with a really open mind and an understanding of how complex it can be. So, what can you do if you're worried, and what can we do to prevent it? The first and most important thing is something that we talk a lot about in Be Internet Legends, and that's be brave and ask for help. And this is often the most tricky and difficult part for a child. Now, you'll already have some tips and techniques up your sleeves when it comes to getting your children to open up to you. So if you've got any tried and tested techniques, please pop them in the chat box and I'll share them with everybody in a moment. But we do have some tips of our own. Now, the first one is to tell them what you're seeing. So you might say, "You look really sad. Is there anything that I can do to help?" The next one is trying to distance the problem so that you're not just focusing on them and you're talking about it in more general terms. Now, you might say, "I'm worried that there's some bullying happening. Have you talked about this in school at all?" Now, perhaps they're not being bullied, but they do have some questions about it. Or maybe they're worried for one of their friends. Another approach is to tackle the conversation when they don't feel under any pressure. Now, this could be on the drive or the walk to school, or maybe whilst you're cooking together, or maybe when you're playing games together. So it's giving them something else to focus on so the conversation doesn't feel too intense. Helping a child to be brave enough to ask for help can be really hard. So our final tip is using Be Internet Legends itself. Now maybe you say, "I've been reading and learning about all about Be Internet Legends, and Be Internet Brave is my favourite pillar. I do hope you'd come and talk to me if anything ever worried you or made you feel upset." Do keep adding any thoughts and any ideas in the chat box. Like I said, Tim is there waiting and I will be looking there soon as well. Now, once a child has opened up to a conversation about bullying, whether they're in trouble for being the bully, or they're on the receiving end, or they just have some questions about it, what do you do? The Legends Code gives children lots of things that they can do. Now, children often feel powerless when they're experiencing bullying or seeing it in their friendship groups. So it can be really powerful to work together to come up with a plan and remind them that there are always steps that they can take. So, what are these steps? Let's start with some of the things that they will have learnt in the secure pillar of Be Internet Legends. We teach children about blocking and reporting. So, using the block and report tools in apps and services can stop bullies contacting their victims. And it's really worth reminding your child that people can't tell if they've been blocked and they don't know who's reported them. So, they can really use these tools with confidence and share them with a friend if they're worried about somebody else. They can also report the issue to other people. Now, your child's school will have an anti-bullying policy, so if something really troubling's happening, it's always worth involving your child's school. Of course, the practical steps are only part of the process when dealing with bullying. Now, the final pillar of the Legends Code is really useful here, and that's Be Internet Kind. Now, this is where we talk to children about using the internet to share really positive messages and information, really making their online world a place that they want to be a part of. And it's a really important way that we can prevent bullying from happening. Now, for a child who is experiencing bullying, it can be really hard to find spaces where they feel happy or they feel like they can connect with really good friends. But this is something that you can help with. Now, this can be something as simple as spending time with them online, finding all the things they love and enjoy doing on the internet. Now, this will be different for every child, so it might be listening to music together or maybe watching really funny, silly cat videos. Helping them find their tribe and move away from any people who are being unkind. Now, it can be tempting to tell children to stop using their favourite apps or platforms if they have experienced cyberbullying, but this can often feel like a punishment to your child. Finding things that make them happy, finding different things and new things can be a really effective way to go. And there are other ways to help your child have a really positive experience online. Now, you probably already encourage your children not to give bullies an audience already, but it's worth explaining that some people act badly online to get attention, just like they do offline, and either way, they're likely to stop if you ignore them. Reminding children of really simple rules like not liking posts that are unkind, even if the intention of that post was to be funny, will help them develop kinder online friendship groups. It can be so tricky for children to manage their friendships online and off. Now, without facial expressions and change in tone and somebody's voice, messages can be read in so many different ways and they can even be misunderstood. Now, sometimes even really good friendship groups can have some bumpy moments. That's why we teach children how important it is to be kind. We teach them to say things out loud before they post them to make sure that they're super kind and super positive, and use emojis to make their tone extra clear. Now, these are just a few simple tips and techniques that might make your child's online world a bit more fun. And if you've got any of your own, pop them in that chat box and I'll look there soon. We know the internet is a really complicated place for a child to navigate, and bullying is just one of the many tricky things they might have to deal with. Maybe your child's experiencing it for themselves, or perhaps they're supporting a friend, or perhaps you just want to know how it can be avoided. Whatever your concern about cyberbullying is, I hope this session's been useful and give you one or two things that can help. Now, if you do have a problem, please do get in touch with us. Tim's popping that email address in the chat box so you can contact us if you need to. Be Internet Legends is all about giving children the skills and behaviours so that problems can be avoided. But if they do happen, they know how to get help. And talking about Be Internet Legends, there is so much more of it out there. If you found this interesting or useful, why not come to another one of our digital drops? Now, we're doing them all the way through the term on topics like today's cyberbullying, but also other topics such as sharing carefully. Now, Tim's going to pop a link for our timetable in the chat box. And like I said before, share that with your friends and your family members because they could find this chat really useful too. And as it is anti-bullying week, we are focusing on cyberbullying for the rest of the week in tomorrow's session. Now, we've also got a really exciting brand new resource for you. Google, Parent Zone and Aardman invite you to join us on the Legends Family Adventure. Now, this is a 3-part animated series which follows a family of internauts on an adventure through Interland. And you can also take part in the Legends Family Challenge. Now, this is an opportunity for you and your family to test your online skills and win some really exciting prizes for your child's school. Now, you might have already watched some of the series, and if you have, you might have met our character, Cyberbully. Now, the series covers some really tricky topic areas, but in a really fun and engaging way. And if you watch it together with your children, it can be a really great way to open up any discussions about some of the things we've been talking about today. Now, Parent Zone's Parent Hub has loads of really fun, free activities that families can do together. Now, there's something for each pillar, from kindometers to password poetry. If you sign up for our newsletter, you'll be the first to hear of any new activities. So pop your email in our sign up sheet, and Tim's popping a link for that now in the chat box. And finally, have any of you played Interland? Now, it is a fantastic online game made by Google and Parent Zone, and kids absolutely love it. And they're really good at it too. Now, why not have a bit of a competition in your household? See who can get the highest score. Maybe the loser has to do the dishes or something like that. If you are going to have a competition though, just watch out for Mindful Mountain. I am terrible at it. So if you've got any tips, let me know, but your kids will definitely win at that. So it might be worth not having a competition if you're playing Mindful Mountain, because you will definitely end up washing the dishes. Now, Tim's going to be popping the link for that game in the chat box too, so do check that out. Now, I'm just going to have a look in here, see if there's been any questions. Oh, fab. Tim has put some really lovely links in there, so do copy those down, check them out when you've got time. Now, Tim's also going to share a link for a survey. Now, this survey will take about 30 seconds to fill in, and it'd be really useful if you could do that. It just helps us to know if this digital drop-in has been useful for you, what you thought of it, and if there's any other subjects you'd like us to cover in the future. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us via email or Instagram. The details are on the screen now. We absolutely love hearing from parents and from children and from families. We'd love to hear how you got on in Interland, maybe who won your family competition. And yeah, if you wanted to share maybe some password poetry you create or what you thought of the Legends Family Adventure, we would love to hear it. Well, that's everything from me. I hope you have a really lovely evening, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!